Greetings and salutations, one and all. Welcome to another fabulous week of Olympus Rises, where I, your host, Jordan, aka Mankey Games on the internet, take you on a wonderful journey through the stars, along with the help of my lovely crew. You can see we're missing two right now. Will is still in France, doing Will things, and Devin will be here in just a few moments. But I'd like to thank all of you personally for being here, because that's what keeps me going. Gonna go ahead and jump over to Discord and see how everybody's been doing.
Amherst College, because he's obviously not from the area. And I'm like, you literally probably couldn't have chosen at random a better teacher to ask if you would do this type of stuff with their kids, because
yeah, no kidding.
Like, not only, is that type of research interesting, but also I have a family connection, and I don't know, it was just funny. I was like, really interesting.
Are you extorting your brother for work contacts?
Not in the slightest.
She's signing out her students' brains for research purposes.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
That seems worse.
It's gonna be fantastic.
Well, no, it's not worse, because if she was asking me to do it, it would be like way more invasive.
Yeah, there'd be surgery involved. This is just like silly memory tests and stuff.
If by surgery you mean dissection, then yes.
I was trying to be gentle, but sure, yeah.
Yeah. How does my microphone sound? Does it sound great for all of you?
It sounds fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Better than
fine to me.
Okay, I've repositioned it. It's a bit further away and a bit lower down. I'm trying to mitigate my wind tunnel effect that was reported to me the other day. Basically, it's just going to happen until I am able to get a more appropriate setup where my computer is not also on my desk. But for now, that seems to be the case.
I empathize because unless I have my case fans turned down to 11%, it sounds like it's actually going to take off and fly around the room. And there's no way that I can position my mic where it won't pick that up to some extent.
Yeah, I am equivalent. So, I've been doing the best I can to attempt to mitigate that as much as possible, because it is something I noticed myself a while ago, but then it was also reported to me that apparently Overwatch likes to make my video card fans run at an extremely alarmingly high rate.
Yep.
Yeah.
That would probably do it.
Hi, Devin.
Hello.
Hi, Devin.
So I turn on my computer and it says you have updates that have installed. Please wait.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, no.
Windows, no. Speaking of Windows, I hope all of you joining us today are dual streaming the E3 conference, and by that I mean I hope that you thought of us important enough to watch us alongside the E3 conference.
They still haven't said the name.
It's basically
they just showed the console, but they haven't said the name.
What are you
Sorry.
talking about? I have no idea what you could possibly be referencing.
Xbox's new console, whatever.
Yeah.
But the project is just called Scorpio, which God help me if that's the actual name of the console, but I don't think it is.
It's not, specifically not, but I think a lot of people are actually opposite of you in that, Megan, and they think Scorpio is an awesome name for a console.
Oh my god, I think that's, so bad. But whatever.
It's pretty bad.
I'm clearly not the audience that they're catering.
Well, I knew it was
whatever.
I knew it was destined for me since that's my birth sign, so I have to get one.
We were actually just talking about this Friday, and they said the project name was Scorpio. The console name? Scorpion.
Yeah, right. Wait, they keep saying Renegade. Why do they keep saying Renegade?
So clearly Megan is one of the few who is...
Yeah,
Meg's on
it's
that.
called Renegade.
That's a worse name than Scorpion.
To be fair, yeah, I think that's a worse name than
Yeah,
Scorpio.
now I'm out really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'll stop now.
For the group of you, Will, I think, will not be joining us today as he is still MIA in France. I'm sure that we will not hear about some runaway Quasimodo-like prince terrorizing the French countryside at any point in time. Hopefully.
Oh, yeah, I hope so. Hold on, it's called... Hold on, are you ready for this? Do you want to know what it's actually called?
I do. Let's do the announcement live here.
It's called the Xbox One X.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Oh my god.
No, it's not.
I swear to God, it says it on the screen.
You're pulling my leg.
It says the Xbox One X, and everyone's
I don't
just
believe
calling
you.
it the Xbox X.
The Xbox X.
No, it's not.
Called. I swear to God, it says on the screen, Xbox One X. And now
What a fucking joke.
Wow.
Okay, I am wishing it was called Scorpio now.
Yeah, don't you?
For everyone's sake in the world.
Listen, they could just call it the Xbox Scorpio.
Why could?
Why couldn't they have done that? If they needed Xbox in the title, they could have. You know what? Whatever.
Moving
anyway,
right along.
Will is terrorizing the French countryside as we speak, so it'll be just the three of you and myself today. So, without further ado, Devin, tell us about your week and how you've been and what's been going on.
I'm gonna be in Kissimmee sooner than I thought. The contract start date got moved to the 26th of this month.
Is that good or bad?
I don't know yet.
Okay, good.
Determined.
Unclear.
Other than that, it's been pretty uneventful, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, Megan.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the new season of Rocket League.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that the new competitive season starts on the 5th of July.
Devin, you missed us all just gawking, like Jordan, Will, and I, like contemplating what we were doing with our lives watching the finals of that the other week.
Oh my god,
the
no,
RLCS.
don't. I can't talk about it because it makes me not want to play Rocket League anymore.
Yeah, no, there's just no point because...
Yeah,
Like-
it's like I'm never, ever going to be able to do any of that. I
Dude,
should stop.
I'm never gonna be that good at anything in my life.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like, I don't even care about Rocket League, and it was still making me feel inadequate.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, as a human, I felt
Yep.
inadequate.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same thing. Like, Jordan, you know Josh. His brother Jared is 3 years younger than Josh. For whatever reason, he has this knack for video games. Not a particular type, but if it's a video game and it's played on a console or PC, and there's some sort of controller with an interface, blah, whatever, he's like, I'm gonna play this for like 15 minutes and then be better than you. But no, stop! I've been playing Rocket League for well over a year now, and dedicating way too much time to it every week. And then he buys the game. He buys the game 3 months ago. Plays it a couple of times, whatever, and then we go to play Friday night. And like he's almost as good as I am. I'm like, what do you know? You've been playing for like total in-game time like 3 hours. In-game time, I have probably over 400 hours.
Yeah.
Well, at least maybe you can play on his team.
Yeah, I'll let him carry me. Hopefully.
All right.
And just put you in his little backpack and carry you.
I'll just play goalie. You go do the rest.
That's when you just flip the car on his back and then just spin it around
Yep.
a bunch of times while he just plays the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
He got Exterminator and had like 11 demolitions in one game just for fun.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, the RLCS championship was pretty incredible. We watched that on.
Yes.
Was that on? What day was that, Matt? Was that on Friday?
That was on Friday night. Yeah.
Yeah. Why were you in voice chat on Friday, Matt?
What?
It must have been Sunday then. It must have been last week on Sunday.
Because
Okay.
it was right after a game.
Right. I thought for some reason I thought it was right after
No.
Siege, but yeah, it was right after Olympus last week. Cool. Awesome.
Now, in recent memory, I can definitely count on one hand the number of times I've actually been home when you guys finished Siege, so that's pretty unlikely.
Excellent. Megan,
Hi, hello, yes.
how was your week been? Tell us all about it.
My week was fine. Busy, but fine. Today finally got over 80 degrees, and it was really, really, really nice. So that's good.
Meanwhile, in Florida,
Yeah, I know.
it was like 96 today.
Meanwhile, in Pakistan, it's 129 Fahrenheit the other day.
With no humidity, though.
It doesn't matter.
That's not really.
That's the highest recorded temperature on the
Ever.
planet ever.
I'm
It's
just
supposed to be 114 in Las Vegas.
I don't care if it's a
tomorrow.
dry heat. That's still bananas.
I'm just throwing this out there. Humidity makes it seem way worse.
Yeah.
Anyway, Meg, please continue.
I don't think I have anything else to continue with. I finally got somebody to play Final Fantasy 14 with me. Hopefully, question mark. So I'm excited about that. But other than that, not a whole lot to report. I have cider. Yes, Devin, I have cider. It is quite
Is it good?
Oh,
Yeah?
it's super good. I highly recommend it if you ever
Okay.
see it in the store.
If you had to compare it to another cider, is it something similar to something?
Have you ever had Strongbow?
Yes.
Yeah, it's better. It's like slightly better than that. Like it's a step up.
Okay.
version of
Better
that.
in what way?
That seems very relative.
Well, if you don't, I mean, if you like cider, it's just like it's
Is it drier? Is it sweeter?
it's less
Is it...
sweet. It's less sweet,
Okay.
which I like better.
Have you had the Stella cider?
No, I haven't. But
Oh
I've heard
my
it's
God.
quite good. Yeah.
By far my favorite.
Okay, well maybe I'll
by
have to have
far.
some of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have seen it though.
I haven't had this one, so
Yeah, I'll have to do a
I'll have to
taste
look
test
at it.
comparison. But
yeah. I've drank a lot of ciders.
I told you made a new friend for life, Megan.
yay!
Yeah.
One of the funniest stories ever, because and to be fair, I'm not really making fun of Devin,
No, it's okay.
but Devin doesn't drink beer, okay?
Oh, I know the story.
And there is a wing house that is within walking distance from my house. And if you don't know what a wing house is, it's basically Hooters, but like the southern Florida version. It's typically way better because it has better food. And I used to be a regular there when I had money, and I used to know all the bartenders because I used to always just sit at the bar. And me and Devin went there one time, and I ordered beer, and she's like, what do you want? And he was like, well, I don't know, what can you make? And I said, hold on, I got this. Make him the girliest but strongest drink you can possibly whip up. And she comes back with this bright purple drink.
It was delicious.
That was apparently delicious. And also, I cannot attest to the strength, but I feel like we got really drunk that night.
Yeah.
Feel like we were pretty toasted by the end of the night.
It was good.
So
And then for the rest of the night, she called me princess.
correct.
Because I didn't drink
Yes,
beer.
that is
That's deserved.
that is a thing that occurred.
But I was okay with it.
yeah, right.
Indeed. Anyway, anything else, Megan?
No.
Matt,
Jordan,
tell us all about it.
I actually played some games this week.
Holy shit! What? Oh, right. You mentioned in general that you had played a game that was early access.
Yeah. Dead Cells. Pretty good.
passing on
It's
that.
like
What type of game is that?
it's like a 2D roguish, like side scroller rogue-like kind of game. So the general premise is when you kill enemies, you get, whatever they call them, cells. That's the gimmick. You get these big glowy particle things that you can interchange with literally any other mechanic from a video game that works that way. But you have to make it to checkpoints to actually spend them. If you make it to a checkpoint, you are obliged to pick things to upgrade. When you die, you keep the upgrades, but otherwise you start from the beginning.
That sounds cool.
It's interesting. It's like it it it's hard to describe, but it just feels really satisfying. Like all of the attacks, like the weapons that you get, feel distinctly different.
Okay.
Even though I've only
cool.
played it for, maybe an hour and a half, I can already tell it's gonna be really enjoyable. And for an early access game, there's already quite a bit to it. But yeah, it's the levels are semi-random. It re-rolls to some extent, but in general, like the areas seem to be more or less fixed. Like you always start in the same area, and if you follow the basic path, it's always going to be the same sequence of environments. But from what I can tell, if you beat certain like mini bosses, it gives you access to skills that let you kind of cut. Like it gives you access to paths that were not previously available. So like the first example I came across was one where you beat mini boss, and now you have access to these like vines that you can spawn in certain portions of levels.
That's funny. I'm watching like the trailer, and as you were saying, spawn vines.
Yeah.
A vine spawned. Like,
yeah, so that's like
that's cool.
something. It seems like it's not quite a rogue. It's rogue-like, so you don't lose literally everything when you
rogue,
die.
I think they call those nowadays rogue lite, Lite.
Yeah.
I just saw something that said Roguevania.
Yeah, so rogue-lite slash Metroidvania.
Yeah,
slash
Metroidvania. Metroidvania is the term that is used a lot as well for those side-scrolling platformer games.
It's really good. I would recommend it.
It looks good
already.
Yeah. I have never really been into the side-scrolling platformers as much as I probably should be as a gamer.
Dude, I'm generally not either. I like more open world
after watching
RPG.
this though, this has like it's not your normal like side scroller like, oh, here's 2 attacks and you aim. It's like there's like at least 5 different weapons that I just saw. Yeah. With all these different skills, so it's a pretty in-depth side scroller. It looks pretty good.
Yeah. The art is amazing too. Yeah. It looks really, really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's other than deciding I was gonna veg out for a little while and play that, more of the same from me. Are
you a published scientist yet?
I will let you know when that's out.
I mean, we're still going to ask you every single week.
Yeah. Just remind me that I shouldn't be on here spending 4 hours a week doing this. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, just work harder the other however many hours are in a week.
Uh-huh.
Or you just need to have a really big accident, and then something's going to happen that no one's ever done before, because that's how a lot of breakthroughs happen.
Right. Like, you might turn into the Hulk, and that would be cool.
That would be amazing.
I'll get to work on that.
Start working on gamma rays. Come on.
You also might just melt.
Yeah, it's.
By the way, did you guys hear that?
There's some like. God, I mean, it's kind of a recycled joke that comes up every so often, but I'm thinking of, I don't know if it was like a Robot Chicken or some thing like that where, the guy's trying to get superpowers and he goes into the, he exposes himself to a bunch of radiation and goes into the doctor and he's like, no, you've got cancer. What are you talking about? Like, anyway, no, I don't think I'd be so lucky as to get all Bruce Banner and then just spend my life wandering. You don't know if you don't try.
It's true.
That's more of a gamble than I'm willing to take.
Yeah, right.
Because
What's the over-under on that?
Yeah, I can make
About
an
1 out of
educated
100.
Guess. I can make a pretty educated guess what the result of that would be. I think I'm gonna hedge my bets and
Yeah.
just try otherwise. I posted some photos that I put in the general chat.
So Matt, when you sent me that message last night, I actually assumed that you meant something to do with your work.
One of them is actually a picture.
Right, but I actually thought you meant like you were like publicly releasing information on your work and receiving critiques.
Oh, no.
Right. So I was
No,
very
so, like,
confused
hobbyist
today.
photography.
Right. So I was very confused today when I received your message after I had fallen asleep that said I only consider myself a hobbyist photographer, or like, a hobby photographist, and I was like, what? What is he talking about?
No. Yeah. Okay, that interaction we had makes more sense now.
Yes. Because
I was like, oh, it's kind of a dick thing to say. Like, I'm just putting some snapshots online, man. Oh.
So you said holy shit, I posted some photos on this critique website and got like a bunch of comments already. And so I assumed that it was photos of your work. I don't know why I assumed that. Probably because you also put the word critique in it. And when I personally think like photography, it's like fucking imager, right? Like whenever I see the word critique, I think it's something like professional. But then you were just like, good thing, nothing substantial, but I got a shocking number of views. And then you sent me this picture.
I can dream.
That has, and so this was also confusing to me because mixed in, I thought you were showing me like some feed of other things because it's like Downtown Books, Milwaukee Renovation, Hippocampal Dendrite, and I was like, well, that must be the thing he was talking about.
No, the thing that I showed you was my feed exclusively.
No, yeah, totally, and I get that now, but like I was like, oh, I must only supposed to be looking at the Hippocampal Dendrite because this is totally about the work.
No, bunch of different stuff, but I decided to throw that in.
So that's why I asked the question. Oh, that's cool. A lot of stuff like relative to posts of the same nature. And then you were like, no idea, I've been on the website for 30 minutes. And then I was like, why is he posting his work photos to a site he's only been a member of for 30 minutes? And then you said I don't even, and again, that's like, I got those messages, and I think I responded with true. I was doing something probably at the time. But I was just very confused. That makes a little more sense. Very confused until in general chat today you were like, hey, here's my album that I posted, and I was like, oh, it's not work related. I get it.
No biggie. That is kind of funny though.
I was not intentionally being an asshole.
It's okay.
Trust me,
even if you were, that wouldn't have been an unreasonable comment to make. I just was like, oh, that's a little more overtly critical than Jordan. It made me
sound disinterested, and that was not true, I think. I also think you caught me doing placement matches in Overwatch, and fuck people. I actually don't get that salty in that game, to be honest. There are occasions when I get salty. I got really salty when I got hooked through the floor one time. I got really fucking salty when that happened. Fucking Roadhog. But besides that, it's overall been a pretty good experience with Overwatch. I placed high silver and then made my way to low gold very quickly. So
nice.
Seems good. The rest of my week has consisted of figuring out I could get groceries delivered to my house for basically free because it allows me to use a whole bunch of coupons I never normally would have, and then I just take that money that I used in coupons and just tip the driver that shows up.
Nice.
And then they also have deals through the program that I use where, like, spend $20 in these goods. And I'm like, I could figure out a way to spend $20 on Pepsi products and still get what I'm looking for, snacks and, you know, a drink. I can still do that. So I did that. Cat, stop scratching my chair. I will toss you across the room. And then I watched E3 yesterday, which was interesting. There were some interesting... one game in particular that I am excited about, called A Way Out. It's a split-screen co-op only game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you heard that right. Split screen.
Ears are already turning in Meg's head.
Oh yeah, no.
No, he already told me this.
Yeah, I already sent the YouTube link and everything. Split screen co-op only, and it means exactly that. So, even if you play with someone online, you still have split screen. Yeah, your entire game is in split screen, and you play as one of the two characters. And one of the coolest cinematic things that happens is, like, you know, in like old like 80s and 90s TV shows when they had like the two scenes side by side, and like you could see what the bad guys were doing and you could see what the cops were doing, or like the Ocean's movies do it too, where they have like those different scenes coming up at the same time. That's the whole game. So it's pretty cool because like your buddy can be in a cutscene and you can actually be walking around and still performing actions, and vice versa.
Interesting.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Looks really cool. Pretty stoked about that. And then today, I basically spent my entire day at work, in which I was supposed to be prepping for this game, asking Megan questions about Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah. I don't apologize.
To be fair, though, I already had most of this session prep since I told Will about it last week, because I had to get his input on what he would do in certain situations, because there are probably going to be a couple of situations where his input is needed. Because this is but the tip of the iceberg. And speaking of icebergs and perhaps or perhaps not striking them, last time on Olympus...
Dun 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 dun.
You almost forgot there. I think I surprised you just slightly.
You did. I wasn't ready for that.
Last time on Olympus, we'll go over the what happened. Yeah, opening theme. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing I didn't do. I didn't check that.
Yeah, we gotta find out.
But we'll go through the overview of what happened last week, and then we will get into character goals and if we completed any, etc., etc. So last week we made our jumps. We completed all of our role play and stuff that needed to happen within the 9 to 12 days that we were in transit. It consisted of some interesting conversations between your new crew member and Oscar, as well as some interesting medical evaluations that were ongoing between Dr. Fisher and Gogo and Chan. Some interesting developments in that regard. I think Gogo had her first taste of what she may have gotten herself into at a couple of points in the last session. It's not all roses.
Pun intended, or
yeah, I mean, yeah. It's not all roses and daisies, I think. I don't know how Gogo feels about that, but I'm sure we'll find out sooner rather than later.
Well, I know that Meg has a backup character, so I think...
I also know that Meg has a backup character that you don't even know about, Matt, so...
I don't know if that's true, actually.
I think you might be wrong. She has more than one.
It's fine. Everything's fine. Continue.
Well, unless the character has changed since I last heard the iteration.
It's a mystery. wrapped in enigma.
Okay. I hope that comes up as just the letter K on the Google.
That'd be great.
The Google Translate. And fortune for you last week, it was, I think, probably a little bit slower on your side of things.
Okay.
Right up until the point where we finally get...
Where we're all gonna die?
Yeah, right up until the point where we get back into Westwind space, and you are accosted specifically by this Westwind cruiser and frigates to prepare for inspection because your ship's been reported stolen.
Mm-hmm.
And during the inspection, you there were some well-timed rolls for them not to go digging into your special secret case.
Yep.
And shortly thereafter, the action was thrust upon you. No pun intended.
No, pun intended.
By what is
The pun is always intended. I hate it when people say that.
That's true. I usually say things on purpose. Usually the words that are spoken from my mouth are on purpose. Just usually.
Thank you for reiterating that so clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it was important so that Google closed captioning is able to pick it up clearly, so that the members of our deaf audience, hello out there, can reasonably understand what we were talking about.
Would it be deaf members of our audience instead of members of our deaf audience? Because the whole audience isn't deaf.
I would like you to show me proof.
What?
Okay, onward and upward. Or maybe downward. I don't know. We might be dying.
Yeah, there was a what would be classified as probably not a large fleet, but a mid-sized fleet of ships, which, when we're talking in terms such as these, it's probably anywhere between 20 and 50 ships, which, is far larger than the contingent of 3 that were currently with you. And luckily, Oscar had his newfound powers had activated, his spidey sense, as it were. Because I mean, he's literally an insect. So
yeah.
I don't know if you caught that last time, Matt, but
that was fully. So I've been waiting for someone to comment on that, and I wasn't gonna say it myself.
Sure.
And
yeah,
I'm really
makes sense.
disappointed that it took a full week.
Yeah.
For her.
Absolutely. So, yes, your spidey sense went off. You were able to get Gogo at least into the cockpit and whirring up the engines before this occurred. Had you not, it would have been a far more dire situation. There would have been, whole actions where the ship was still getting ready to get fired up. And I think that even with your warning, there is some reasonable amount of chaos that occurs in the immediate aftermath. Obviously, these ships did not warp in right on top of you. They're not, within spitting distance. But you don't know what ships are there because nobody... You just know, and Oscar, you just know this from the premonition you had of the sensor scan, that there's a big old fleet and they just warped in right here, or drilled in right here, as it were. So you're not sure who or what it is, but you know that it was going to cause enough of a shift in the gravitational waves that it was going to rock the ship, and you needed to secure yourselves or be injured, and that was what triggered the premonition. So, luckily, I think that you and I forgot her name. What did I name this chick? Oha, yes, jeez.
Yeah, but she also, so even if I don't know exactly who they are, she does know that their intent is not good.
Correct, absolutely. Because
which is the important
she has another set of powers that allow her to to kind of gather that information.
Yeah, these are not friends.
Yeah, that they are not friendly. And so I have to ask Fortune.
Yep.
You've been with Oscar for a while. If
Yep.
he were to just kind of randomly out of the blue say something like this, would you take him at his word and, like, snap right to it?
Yes.
Okay. I figured as much, but I felt like I needed to ask the question.
Well, it's also, I think, part of the mindset that, well, me and Oscar have because of our backgrounds, where when something like that said, it's not a joke and something's going on, you need to react.
Yeah.
So
Oscar
it could have been like Gogo, who said, shit's gonna go down, get ready. Like, okay,
Right.
let's do it.
Yeah.
Just because of that's my mindset. Like when something like that happens, we just got to react to it.
Right.
Oscar's not much for pranks. So like if he
Yeah.
says if he says this,
Haha, gotcha!
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a prank, bro.
Just
It's
a
like,
prank,
no,
bro.
We're fucked.
I know
Yeah,
you've,
we're-
like, strapped yourself in now, but it's just a prank, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Fortune, you snap too, and I think that for all intents and purposes, Dr. Fisher is paranoid as AF. He's paranoid AF. And so if somebody tells him there's some shit about to go down, he's already, like, seatbelted. Like,
Yeah. He's like, yeah, it took long enough. I knew it was coming.
you're right. Yeah, it's like, I knew it was going to happen. Like, obviously, everything's been going way too well for too long. Like, some shit is going down. So the other thing is, though, there are 4 individuals aboard your ship who would not take you at your word, Oscar, because they don't know who you are. So I'm gonna make some physical effect saves real quick, just to see if they have any significant injuries. Even on a failure, it's probably just gonna be bumps and bruises and maybe some lacerations. But on a significant failure, I think that we will progress that to being perhaps a bit more serious.
It'll
They
be
also-
a hard lesson for them then.
They also all need to make a mental save because they're going to get ridiculed by Arthur Fortune.
Yes, indeed.
Listen
right.
listen to the bug
Physical
man.
effect save.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a significant significant failure there, I would say. Okay, good. And then let's roll this one.
Every single one of them I'm going to call dumbass.
Okay.
Dumbass.
So the leader guy, he does a bit better. Gets it a bit closer. And I think that I would say that 2 of the regular guards do okay. Like, maybe there's some bumps and bruises. But I think that when the ship gets jostled, everything kind of slides, except for the box that's bolted to the hull.
Bolted to the floor.
Yeah. And one of the guys who was standing by it probably trips over it and, like, puts his arms down to stop himself, and you hear just a sickening crunch as his arm breaks. And then the scream thereafter, right? From that occurring. And, you know, in the chaos of this, his buddies are trying to figure out what's going on. You see that the leader guy, he holds his hand up and begins to, like, trying to get radio comms. And I remember the fact that I said I was going to have you guys tell me if you had any goals, and then I totally forgot about that. So let's leave it there for a moment and ask if there's any goals we completed. We'll just quickly just say, did anyone complete any goals?
Yes.
Excellent. Oscar, let's take a look. Which goal did you
Topmost goal.
complete? The topmost goal. Okay. Topmost goal is go full Game of Thrones. Yeah, I think that is certainly completed. Now, under the circumstances, it was basically just, you know, a conversation to be had, so it wasn't particularly difficult, but it is going to net you some. I think that you can probably have
But there-
for the role play, basically, right? Like,
Yeah. I'm gonna argue a little bit. I don't care what you give me. However, I think there was more than just conversation there, because there was a major decision that was
Sure.
also made based on that.
Sure, yeah. You asked her to marry you. In case anybody missed that last session, I wanted to throw that one in there real quick.
I don't know that I so much asked. I
Yeah.
informed her
That she was going to marry him.
that it would be integral
Yeah, I mean, I think that's how
my
Oscar
plans
thinks it
and
went
her
down.
survival.
I think that's how, like I said, I think that's how Oscar thinks it went down. She has her own ideas, though, of course.
Yeah. Oh,
But-
and I'm sure she does.
I think that you can get a solid 250 experience from that, because it was
I
a
will take
significant.
that.
It was a significant character moment as well, I think, and that is deserved of some XP. Anybody else? Anybody else complete any goals? Any goals?
Still. I mean, technically, I think my second one could be, but I want to actually build it up.
Well, this is the first session.
XP,
This is the first session you actually had goals, right?
True.
Yes.
This is true. And my first one is.
I
still
like how your
never-
first goal. I like your first goal.
Don't,
I think it's.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
I think it's the most
Yeah.
attainable.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think that's one of those goals that if it's failed, I will grant experience.
Okay. I agree with this, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I'm actually
I'm
gonna,
gonna- Here.
keep
we're
my
gonna-
second one because I want
I'm
to.
gonna add a question mark there.
No, that's not okay.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm gonna keep my second one because I want to do more with it. Like, I mean, technically, I've been like keeping a journal and I've
Yeah.
been making sure that I've been helping out in any way I can. But I want to keep it for.
Yeah, I think that that is definitely one of those ones that you can like cash in whenever
Yeah.
you want to bump.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that.
And the
then
more
I'll-
and more you do, the more it will grow and grow.
Mhm.
So cool.
Yeah. So technically, no.
And then the third one we may get to today. We'll have to see how everything else goes.
If we don't die, that might occur.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Depending on how long this this encounter with these ships takes, I might be able to complete 2.
Okay, cool, but none right now.
None right now,
Unfortunately.
correct.
Okay. Fuck Will's goals, because he's causing mischief with friends.
He's on vacation.
Yeah.
And
Right.
he didn't take me with him.
Right.
That's the only reason why.
True.
Dude, he was going to a cottage along the French coastline. He could have at least sprung for 3 more tickets.
Right? Or at least informed us like a couple of weeks beforehand.
He doesn't even have to pay for it. It's clearly the freaking people of Great Britain
Right.
who are paying
Yeah,
for it.
it's
Yeah.
clearly
Or-
tax dollars.
Right.
Yeah,
so why
tax
couldn't
dollars
he
at
have
work
just
right here.
Slid a couple tickets our way, right? Like,
I
come
feel
on.
bad for any of our viewers every time that are new. Like if this is a first or like last week is a first episode they watched, they're like, they play with royalty? What?
Like
Yeah.
for real?
Well, it's going to be even worse because I have okay, so that's the other thing I did last week is I played a one-shot. Oh, actually not last week, on Friday, actually, before the Siege game, I played a one-shot with the new crew, 3 of them. And yeah, I've got a Swede.
Is there Swedish royalty question mark?
Yes, there is actually.
There used to be.
I've got and I'm gonna make fun of him, but he understands it's in love. He has an American accent, but he uses British terminology, and it's one of the greatest things I've ever encountered in my life.
I need examples. Not from you, but I need examples.
I will link you to the first recorded episode. And then Ivan, who has really good English, but also is Bulgarian, so every now and then slides into that kind of like deep guttural sounding accent. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That sounds great.
It is. I haven't even met the other 2 yet, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, so awesome. We're good on goals. Congratulations, everybody. So
Yay. Back to dying.
back to
Yeah,
dying.
right?
I want to kind of gauge what everybody's first action is. Fortune, you obviously have no idea. You just know that's something, and then you get rocked, right? You have no idea if the ship's been hit, like if you're damaged. The lights probably flicker and everything, like you've been hit with some kind of attack, right?
Yeah.
Go, I think you get some sensor readings like, stabilization sensors, malfunctioning, right? And you get like a couple of warnings popping up. And Dr. Fisher is probably in the cockpit with you, and he's like listing off a couple of systems that appear to be malfunctioning currently.
Yeah, and Gogo's immediately relaying all that information to Chan and trying to do damage control.
Right. Yeah, you're trying to figure it out while firing up the engines.
Yeah, I'm probably Go-Go. Are the guns online?
Jordan, are the guns online?
Yeah, Dr. Fisher probably just, like, nods once, and then goes back to trying to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Okay.
Fortune, it's a fleet.
I'm not just gonna die. I'm gonna shoot back if I need to.
Hopefully it won't come to that. Gogo goes back to like trying to get out of here as fast
I
as
think-
possible.
I think the leader is, like, you see him, like, on his comms, and he's, like, tapping his earpiece, because he's got, like, an earpiece comms, and he's like, a fleet? What do you mean, a fleet?
Follow me. We're running to the cockpit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oscar
he orders
says,
his 2 men to, like, treat the wounded guy, and he begins
Yeah,
following you.
I'm also cutting power to all non-essential things on the ship and routing as much as I can into the engines.
Yeah, totally. So what do you do, Oscar? What's your first move? Fortune's on his way to the cockpit with the
very
Western guy.
first.
yeah.
I think he wonders to himself what the hell just happened to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that?
And he has some concerns about his interaction with the Maltech back on the planet.
Yeah, I bet.
Back on Eurypylos. But after...
Yeah, you should make me a mental effect save.
Yay!
1 sec.
Not only do we die, you go crazy first.
Your brain
Oh,
explodes
perfect.
first.
Okay, good. So this is the first failure in, if I'm looking here correctly, 6, which is really, really good for you. It could have gone much more horribly. So I think that when you realize your vision is kind of fuzzy, almost as if you were concussed or if you had...
Yeah, it gets like a little gray around the edges.
Yeah, yeah, like you're the just on the verge of blackout.
Yeah.
And it kind of stays for it doesn't go away immediately when like you take a deep breath and calm down. It's kind of there. And you get that movie, that movie sequence where like people are talking but it sounds like it's through water, right? And their voices are all distorted. What do you... Yeah,
Offer.
right, yeah, what do you do?
Yeah, I think he just he tries to steady himself a bit. And he says, I can't explain what just happened, but I'm certain that we're in danger. And then he probably looks to
Yeah.
Oha.
Well,
and
hold
he's
on.
like-
Fortune, are
Yeah.
you still there at that moment?
Probably. I mean, this probably happens.
Oscar's not
before I
speaking
can leave.
common.
Am I speaking anything?
He's saying words, and like you're like maybe it's
Oh,
Sriek,
shit.
and you look at
Yeah.
Oha, and Oha looks at you, and she just like shakes her head.
I'm like, aliens.
Yeah, and you
Shrug.
lead the guy up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be like, Oscar, prepare yourself. Get your shit together.
Yeah, I mean you hear that, Oscar, no problem. Oha is like she's like holding onto your arm, Oscar, and like looking at you, confused. What do you do?
I mean, he doesn't know that they can't understand him, so
No.
he asks her, who are they? Can you tell?
Yeah, and she kind of you get a wave of confusion coming from her. And she's
Raised
like,
eyebrow smell.
yeah. Well, no, not even that. That's cheeky. This is legitimate confusion, and she goes,
Yeah.
I don't understand.
You said they were enemies.
What are you saying, Oscar?
String of
Expletives.
Srieki expletives, and you know.
Spoiler: they're not
Shit.
in Sriek.
Oh yeah, no, I know, but like he curses and kind of shakes his head, and I guess if no one is responding to him, he'd kind of just starts walking to the, he gives her a quizzical look, like, what the why aren't you, I don't get it. And then he starts walking toward the cockpit then.
Yeah, do you like exude a pheromone of specific intent when you give that look?
Pheromone puff of like bewilderment, and
yeah.
Then he walks off to the cockpit.
Yeah, and I think that just confuses her more. She's just like, what? What are you confused about? Right? And yeah, she walks kind of silently behind you. And as you approach, like you're on your way to the cockpit, as you approach the cockpit, your vision begins to clear, and your ears stop ringing, and everything kind of recedes back to normal. And by the time you enter the cockpit, Gogo, you've got the ship up and running. Fortune, you're there as well. Dr. Fisher's going to make a roll to see what he can see legitimately here. Let me just pop out his character sheet because I'm going to need it for probably a lot. And this is going to be a computers check. Computer. It's going to be with intelligence. Ooh, not great. I think he's going to spend his reroll on that because it's
Smart.
52.
It's a good time to do it.
Yep.
Okay, that's way better. So immediately he begins pinging out a couple of IF signatures. And the 10 is going to net him a couple of IF signatures from the ships that have just warped in. One of those is is identified as a Kuchera Syndicate Greed class heavy fighter, which is kind of the they typically carry either a Spike 1 or Spike 2 drives, and they're kind of the formations that are used on raiding parties mostly.
Great.
He identifies an unknown make ship, but it is it's a frigate class. It appears to be kind of a retrofitted freighter, like kind of equivalent to what you guys are flying, except specifically fitted for combat. He identifies that there is one large ship in the formation, and the only thing he's able to get from it is its approximate size and orientation within the fleet that's warped in probably designates it as a carrier size ship. And then he probably says, oh, and I also make that determination because it appears to be launching fighter wings.
Oh yeah, that sounds great.
To which he identifies as Manta-class fighters, which are kind of your basic run-of-the-mill, no up armor, just have a basic like laser system fighters. And it appears to be launching those in preparation for something. As he's listing off all of this, what's the reaction of the crew?
I start aiming guns at things.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you weren't aiming guns at things, I would have told you to go aim guns at things. While I'm still proceeding to try to GTFO.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, Jesus. After we get there, I think Oscar would probably try and get more information out of Oha. So he'd say, like, this is important. do you know who these people are?
Yeah, and I think
Do you know what their intent is?
there's a surprise pheromone that kind of wafts through the air, and she's like, well, at least I can understand you now. These people know, but I know they mean us harm, or at least those with us. And she kind of like side-eyes the Westwind agent that's on the bridge.
Yeah, it's just, their shuttle's attached to our ship. If they mean Westwind harm, I doubt that they will differentiate.
Yeah, and I think that while that's all going on, and also remember, your IF returns as a Westwind ship, technically.
Yeah.
The guy
that's
is
true.
Least from Westwind at the moment, still.
Yeah.
Fucking A. Yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
So you don't own it yet. It still classifies as a Westwind ship. Granted, it does classify as freelance, and that's why they didn't like blow you out of the sky that one time.
Yeah, that's what I was confused about. Because I remember there was a discussion about how we were not officially linked to them, but we are.
Yeah,
still.
it's kind of like buying a car from the dealership.
Right.
You don't work for the dealership,
Yeah.
but you're just buying the car from them.
Yeah. Like the bank technically owns our cars, not us.
Yeah.
Oh,
But anyway,
ending.
also in
you know.
in the accompaniment of a cruiser and 2 assault
Yeah.
frigates. It's
Yeah,
probably
it doesn't look particularly good.
Yeah, it's probably particularly ill-timed. But you can also see that those frigates, or the frigates and the cruiser, are like, they're turning and they're angling in like towards this fleet that's coming in. And you see the guy, he's tapping on his comms. He's like, he finally just rips the thing out of his ear and he's like, screw that. Can I use your comm station?
I think it's for Fisher to answer.
Yeah, I think Fisher probably is like, yeah, go ahead. And he comes over and he starts typing in a bunch of like rapidly letters, and he clearly is like logging the access codes into the comm system for Westwind. And finally he gets a hail up and he sends it out. You know, he's like, you know, what's going on? And you can see that there's another individual on the cruiser ship, and he's like, we just got word. Looks like the 7th Fleet from Kuchera. Identifies the markers, at least. Help's on the way. Should be here momentarily. And kind of as he says that, we see kind of a view from the outside of the ship. We see, like, kind of, you know, 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like, a bunch of ships all drilling in, and they do what's called, like, an in-system drill, which is highly dangerous, but it allows you not to have to spend 6 hours. And you can only really do it with, like, the fleet control systems and, you know, all that cool shit that comes with being in a military fleet. Because otherwise you would just die, basically.
So
And
are these more of the Kuchera fleet, or
So-
are these people responding to?
no, so it's people responding to...
Okay.
You get a bunch of friendly indicators almost immediately. But the other thing that probably happens is you realize that your ship and the frigates and the cruiser are right in the middle of the dead man zone.
Yay!
And
Yeah.
as one would assume, the guy on the comms, he's like, we've got to get out of here. Danger close. See you on the other side. And he like closes the comm, and you see the guy, he kind of like pushes back, and he like looks up and he's like, you can fly, right? He looks at Gogo, and Gogo, it's right as like the 100% indicator comes up on your screen.
She just gives him like the look, and she pulls down her goggles and smiles, and then just punches it.
I
Yeah.
think when he asks that, I probably look over him and said, "You should probably hold on."
You're right, yeah, totally. And he's like, okay, good. And then, yeah, the ship careens off. Now, your ship, because you've been routing power and stuff like that, your ship has a bit of boost over this cruiser and these 2 frigates. They're a bit more armored and bulkier, and so you kind of fly out away from them a little bit. And as that happens, Dr. Fisher reassumes the comm station and begins relaying orders. Now, this is going to be one of those scenes where it's like super cinematic and cool, with little like sidebars for what you want to do. So let's have a bit of a just an out of character discussion here for just a moment as what would be the immediate plan of action, I'll say, for the crew. And if you would have any input on what that is.
My goal, right, survive. GTFO.
Survive.
Fire back if fire starts.
Right.
Like if someone shoots, I shoot back.
Yeah.
I'm not going to start shooting, but if someone starts shooting, I mean, I'm going to join in.
Right. I assume Go-Go's is put as much distance as we can between us and everything.
Yeah, basically to try to disappear. At least put ourselves past the other ships enough to make it obviously the least
Yeah, so
looking
you're
target.
going to make a
At the very
run
least,
towards the
lose
Westwind
ourselves-
ships?
Right. Lose
Okay.
ourselves behind them at the very least.
Yeah.
So then it's like, look at this big ship over here.
Yeah.
Don't you want to hit them more than us?
It is important you let me know you're running towards the Westwind ships, trust me.
I mean, that would be Go-Go's plan, to go past them and then go far enough past them to jump just entirely to another system. Like, to just literally peace out. But yes,
It's been working for us so far. That's been the winning strategy.
It has been. Go fast. That's our goal.
It has been, indeed. Oscar, what about you?
He's just bolted to the, like, he's standing there at attention waiting for anything at all to happen. Like, he doesn't have anything in this moment that he feels like he has to do. Like, Go-Go's already getting ready to get us the hell out of there.
Right.
And he has some information, so I think he's basically just... He's content that fortune's at the guns, we're getting ready to move, we have someone on sensors, and we're doing the right thing. So he's just at attention, waiting for any of that to change.
Waiting for a ship to come in range and jump to it and plant a bomb. That's what you said you wanted to do, right?
If we're ending the arc today, I have big plans, but
Okay,
I don't think that's
good.
what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
So,
you've been wanting
Let's
to
try
go
plan
loud
A
for a
first.
while, right?
Yeah.
yeah, like, if Oscar's going out, he's going out big, but I don't
Yeah.
think that this is quite the time yet.
Assault suit and giant monoblade cutting through ship hulls.
Yeah, why not?
More or less. More or less.
Okay.
Again, I don't discourage this plan, just not as plan A. That's
Right.
just
Yeah. Let's make that plan like Delta. Let's figure
yeah,
out.
that seems good. Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's the case, Fortune's doing a spacewalk with his Valiant Arms rifle shooting at
Yeah,
ships.
just
There
through
you go.
through the cockpits of these fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, seems good. So it's going to be no surprise when I say to you, you can make the frigate go pretty fast. It's going to cause some strain, but you're also, those systems that are all malfunctioning are going to reduce the effectiveness of what's going on in the ship.
Is there a way that I can,
So
or
it's
any of us can improve?
yeah.
Chan's ability to fix them. Like, that's. I mean, I know it's just
So
based
so
on him,
in
but
Chan is a prop designed to run the chief engineer job in a ship
Yeah.
combat. By the way,
yes, understood.
mechanically, that is the reason he is still on board. Narratively, obviously, there's a bunch of other reasons, but mechanically, that is
minor reasons,
Stop
unimportant
it.
reasons to the plot,
Have it right now.
with
Well,
no
we need
real
omelets.
ties to.
That's the only reason he's here.
Yeah.
So yes, any of those jobs he can do. Now, the thing is, Chan's not Boomer. He's not a full PC. He is an
He's not a
NPC.
piece of shit.
And
I mean, what?
I'll let him know you said that. I saw him today, in fact. And so he is going to be not as effective as, he doesn't get a reroll. He's not great at tech yet. But he's going to be able to at least attempt to do these jobs, but it's also going to wear down on resources. And obviously I'm going to take your input on it. So I think that, from what I understand, the plan is go as fast as possible, get back to where the Westwind ships are, and kind of hide in cover there. So there are a couple of things that are going to happen just because of how the scene is set. For all intents and purposes, the Kuchera Syndicate has gotten the jump on Westwind in this situation, and you being a part of that. And so they're going to get some benefits from that. They were definitely not expected to arrive in this system, especially the home system of Westwind Corporation so soon. It would kind of be like a no-no area, but we can tactically evaluate the situation and what they may be doing throughout the time. And I think that the best way to approach this is I'm going to narrate some scenes that happen, and then throw you guys in a situation that you have to get out of, or fight out of, or do whatever, and then we'll move on. React to in some way.
Jordan, there is one thing that I would like to do. So the leader of the boarding party is cockpit.
Yeah, he's on the bridge with you guys.
So as all of this is happening, I think Oscar would say to him, like, he wants some input from this guy. He doesn't want to just jet and have like a major Westwind. We've pissed off enough people pretty gravely.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of red on the map.
So yeah, we don't. Westwind is like all we have anymore. So
yeah,
he's gonna say like, he's gonna turn to the guy and say like, I think it's too dangerous for you guys to get back. If you want, we can try to position you to get on your shuttle and get back to your ship, but we are not cut out for this fight.
Yeah, and I think he realizes that too, and he probably says like, to you, he's like, make it to the station. It has defenses. A fleet that size won't be able to penetrate it. That's the safest bet. If not, well, guess I'm going on leave for a week. Just get us out of here. Like, keep us alive. And he's kind of like, he's like, I'm at your mercy. Like, I don't know the ship. I can't take command in this situation.
Yeah.
I'm a passenger. Like, I'll help in any way that I can, but he's a passenger at this point.
Yeah. Okay. So that sounds a lot like it's not going to be a cosmic incident if we just jet. So
No. In fact, jetting and keeping them alive will probably earn you points. As opposed to being like, hey, get off your shuttle, and then a laser bolt fucking hits them, right? Like,
right.
Like you will probably, because remember, this guy he's like the second in command on that cruiser, and like a cruiser is no small deal, so he's pretty high up in the military rankings.
That said, if we deprive that cruiser of their leader, and something bad happens.
True.
I don't want that. Like, true.
Yeah, I see what you mean, but yeah, I think that
so it's something that has to be asked.
Yeah, both from what he is saying and also what I am telling you, keeping them alive is priority number one if you want to keep them on your good side. Okay. And dropping them off in the middle of a fleet battle in some transport shuttles is probably not the best method.
I don't know why.
Roger.
That sounds perfect.
I mean, have you ever seen Star Trek? Like, I know their shuttles can do some crazy things, but not in this scenario.
Yeah.
So yeah, Oscar just nods to the guy and returns to his post.
Yeah. So
that being said, if that really good commander has any suggestions, let us know, because none of us are really great at military command in terms of getting out of a battle. So just
if you guys like, if at any point,
willing to hear him.
Yeah, if at any point you guys want to like ask about the tactical situation, he can certainly help. I think Oscar's pretty good at that, but he knows more about the intricacies of this war.
Yeah,
as opposed to
I'll definitely take assistance.
Yeah.
If it comes
right,
to it.
and I think that is the point, right? He's there. He could roll to assist you guys in certain things. to help out, right? Because he's just being a second in command. I think I introduced him as the commander. So yeah, he is actually the commander of that cruiser, whereas the captain is still on the ship, obviously.
Yeah.
Because he was the one you were talking to via like the vid screen. Also, he must be pretty high up too because he just had the access codes for the comm system, right?
Yeah,
like
true.
he didn't have to like request them. He just knew them. So, yeah, he can help in what ways he can. But anyway, regardless.